Hi, Liz here from Tutor to You, Health and Social Care team, and I'm joined by Lynn. Hi, Lynn.
Hi, everyone.
So this evening we are going to be revising Health and Social Care BTEC National Unit 1 Human Lifespan Development, and we're going to be focusing on emotional development today. So let's load up our PowerPoint. And at home, if you're joining us, please do make sure you're a subscriber to our channel, and then you can leave us comments in the chat. Most particularly, you can answer our questions in there. And this revision session goes much better if you all join in from home. We can also give you a shout out. So if you want a shout out or a name check, drop your name in the comments for us. Okay, so our first activity, I think, is a Captain Riddles, and if you've been with us before, you know that there's a little bit of music and then Captain Riddles is going to punch the screen, so don't be alarmed.
Here it goes.
Okay, so Captain Riddles is going to write some clues in the sky. There's going to be 3 clues. They appear on the screen and then they disappear, so you need to remember them. And we will start those clues now. So ready for the first one? So we're looking for something that's a part of emotional development, so an aspect of emotional development. Let's go for the second clue, Lynn.
Okay, let's have a look. Okay.
Bowlby's part theory.
Yeah, part of attachment. I mean, part of emotional.
I think you're giving the game away already, Lynn.
Hopefully you weren't listening then. Carry on, yeah. Bowlby. It's because that word immediately comes to my head when I see Bowlby, that's why.
Okay, strong bond or connection. So for those of you at home, what is the key term that we're looking for? So part of emotional development, Bowlby's theory, strong bond or connection. What are we looking for? Lynn's
Let's
already
have a look.
told you.
Yes, so see if anyone's listening. Otherwise, I think I've got us off the starting blocks this
Okay,
afternoon, haven't I?
let's reveal. Make sure you are correct, Lynn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
brilliant.
attachment. Okay.
I think you can't say bulby without saying attachment in the same sentence, can you? So
Well, hopefully that's what our students will remember in their exam in January.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Let's see what our next activity is. Okay, so we're now looking at another attachment theorist, Mary Ainsworth. She of the strange situation experiment. So we're going to give you a 30-second timer with some music, and we would like you to tell us 3 attachment types according to Mary Ainsworth. If you only know 1 or 2, please just write those down. So we're looking for you to join in and let us know your answers. Let's start that music.
Brilliant. So write in the chat as soon as you think you've got one of the types.
Okay, Sky has given us an answer. Well done, Sky.
Brilliant. That's a good starting place, isn't it? So Sky spoke about insecure attachment, that being a type, according to Mary. And then Sky's given us the flip side of that as well. So secure attachment, and talked about avoidant.
Okay,
So
brilliant.
really good terms that we would associate there with Mary Ainsworth.
Tahir is saying, who is Mary Ainsworth? So Mary Ainsworth was a psychologist that investigated attachment, did work with Bowlby, and then refined Bowlby's theory. So let's have a look at our answers on the screen. So the 3 types of attachment that Mary Ainsworth discovered in her strange situation experiment were insecure avoidant, secure and insecure resistant. The good thing for you guys to know for your Unit 1 exam is that you can focus on secure attachment and insecure attachment and the effects of those 2 types of attachment. If you know about avoidant and resistant, great, you can talk about those, but you don't need to in your Unit 1 exam. Perhaps if you're studying psychology alongside, you know a lot more about it, and that's fine to talk about it. But for everyone generally, think about secure and insecure attachment, and we're going to delve into those a little bit deeper in a moment, okay? So let me hand over to Lynn for our next activity.
Brilliant. So is this true or false? According to Bowlby, infants are biologically pre-programmed to form attachments. Is that statement true or false? It would be great for everyone to either give me a T or an F in the chat, and we can see whether that statement is true. So did Bowlby say that infants are biologically pre-programmed to form attachments? Is that true or false? Just give us a T or an F in the chat.
Sky's asking a really good question. We'll come to that, Sky, in a moment. Let's do the activity on the screen first.
Okay. Does anyone want to take a guess at this? Or do you know? How's good's your knowledge? Bowlby attachment knowledge.
I'm going to say, Lynn, that this is true. Shall we see if I'm right?
Yeah, go for it. Ta-da. Yes, absolutely. So Bowlby was very much saying that infants are biologically pre-programmed. Okay, so there's quite a bit of nature there in Bowlby's thinking. So attachment is essential to survival because human infants cannot meet their own needs. So absolutely, he thought that that was very important.
So Sky was asking about the LAD. So I can see where you're going with that, Sky. You're thinking about the language acquisition device, which is Chomsky, which is also a nature argument. It's an argument that we're biologically pre-programmed to develop language. However, Bowlby did think that we're biologically pre-programmed to form attachments because if we didn't attach to a human when we were born, we wouldn't be able to survive because human infants can't do anything for themselves. We're completely dependent on others, so we must be attached to them and they must be attached to us in order for us to survive. So Bowlby is a nature theorist and so is Chomsky. Okay.
Yeah.
And then to go back to your other question, Sky, do we need to include the words after the dashes, so avoidant and resistant, or will just insecure be accepted? So, Sky, I think in your exam, if you get asked about attachment, you can talk about secure attachments and what you know about those, and insecure attachments and what you know about those, without having to give the extra detail. So just secure and insecure is definitely sufficient for your Unit 1 exam. Let's have a look at our next. I think we've got another true or false.
Yeah, let's have a little look.
Okay, so according to Bowlby, children form attachments at any point during infancy or early childhood. Is this true or false?
So what do we think? Give us a T or an F in the chat.
Nabiha is saying false. Hi, Nabiha.
Okay.
Nice to hear from you.
Hi, yeah, welcome.
Anyone else want to wade in on this one?
Yeah, Sky, what are you thinking? Let us know.
Shall I reveal the answer?
Yes, let's reveal. So that is false. So Bowlby, he thought that there was a critical period for attachments to be formed in infancy. And according to Bowlby, this tended to happen in the first 2.5 years. Yeah, so from 0 through to 2.5 years, that's when children were most likely to form their attachments, rather than just happening at any point with anyone. Yeah.
So well done, Nabiha. And Sky, I think you're right in many ways. If a caregiver is very responsive, a mother is very responsive to a baby, a newborn baby, they can form an attachment almost immediately. Obviously, it takes time for the attachment to become like completely secure, but yes, it is a process that happens as soon as a baby is born, if the caregivers are present and respond to the baby's cues and so on. So let's have a look at our next one. Okay, so Bowlby said that we have insecure and secure attachments. So infants that are securely attached, they know that their parents, their caregivers are going to meet their needs. So if they cry, they get comforted. If they need food, they get fed. If they have a wet or dirty nappy, that gets changed. So that's about secure attachment. But Bowlby said that sometimes infants are insecurely attached, so they might not feel that their needs are going to be met. They might worry about their needs not getting met. So I want you to think about effects in later life if infants don't form a secure attachment. So what did Bowlby say about this? So he said a few things about if an infant is insecurely attached, how will it affect them in later life? So we'll give you 30 seconds and some music to have a think. Can see some good answers coming through.
Oh, really? Yeah, some really good ones. Great, well done, both of you. So, Liz, these seem very much on point. So, Sky's talked about delinquency, so maybe some difficult behaviours as you get older, difficulty to form trusting relationships. Nabiha's also talked about that in terms of unhealthy relationships, unable to express emotions, and struggle forming relationships and maintaining them. So,
Brilliant.
some very sensible answers
Really good.
there.
I'm going to give those guys a round of applause for that.
Yes. A round of applause, well done.
Just,
definitely warmed up.
Yeah. I just wanted to say about the word delinquency. Sometimes students think, I don't know what that means. It's kind of a bit old-fashioned now. We would probably say antisocial behaviour these days is what in Bowlby's time was known as delinquency. So, getting into trouble, causing a nuisance, maybe a little bit of petty crime, and just generally not the kind of behaviour that you want from young people. So let's have a look at our answers, Lynn.
Yeah, so very much aligned with what you guys were thinking. So maybe later in life, if you don't have a secure attachment, you might not trust caregivers or adults in authority. You might have problems controlling your behaviour and more likely to show behaviours such as lying, stealing, cheating and manipulating. So definitely said there's a correlation between having insecure attachment when you're young and behaviours when you're going into adolescence and early adulthood.
Brilliant. Okay, let's have a look and see what we have next. Okay, so we have 8 statements on the screen, and you have 60 seconds to categorise them into one of 3 categories based on their relevance to an attachment theorist. So we've got Bowlby and Ainsworth, who we've already spoken about, and now we're introducing Schaffer and Emerson. Don't worry if you've not heard of Schaffer and Emerson before, you could probably work this out by process of elimination. So first of all, think about what statements definitely fit with Bowlby, because almost all students are very comfortable with Bowlby. Then think which ones match with Ainsworth, and then whatever's left over is your Schaffer and Emerson. So we're going to give you 60 seconds this time. I think it's quite dramatic music. I think to answer right Bowlby and then give the numbers, then Ainsworth the numbers, and then S and E and give us the numbers. Right, let's go.
Take it away. And very dramatic music for this one. Brilliant.
Okay, I can see Sky and Tahira having a go at this.
Yeah, so we've got a couple from Sky. If we look at Bowlby first, Sky's saying that Bowlby might say that there's a critical period for attachment.
Yep.
So we did talk about that, didn't we? The first 2.5 years. Sky's also saying 6, which is pre-programmed to form attachments. We've talked about that this evening, haven't we? In the fact that children are pre-programmed, so it's a biological thing in nature. And then Sky's no, that's fine. And then Nabiha has also added 8 to that, 1 primary attachment. So that sounds pretty good to me, doesn't it, in terms of Bowlby? And then we have Ainsworth. Sky says 5, which is 3 attachment types, which sounds pretty good to me because we've talked about those this evening as well. And 1 and 4, we also have carried out the strange situation experiment. I think you spoke about that, Liz, earlier for Ainsworth as well, didn't you? And 3 from 9 months can form multiple attachments. I think that might be Schaffer and Emerson, but we can see. And then Schaffer and Emerson, 4 stages of attachment, according to Nabiha, and from 9 months can form multiple attachments. So that's good. Have I missed any out there?
Let's load it up because it's quite tricky to hold all these things in your head, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. Oh, I think they've done really well. Yeah, so Schaffer and Emerson is also based on sensitive responsiveness. So they essentially said that babies or children will form attachments with those people that most effectively respond to their needs and their signals and their cues. That might not necessarily be, the person they spend the most time with. It can be that person that meets their needs the most. So, brilliant. There are 3 main attachment theorists that you could use and talk about, pitch against each other.
Yeah.
Liz, I was just going to say, if you're going to do a balanced response talking about attachment, you could talk about how Bowlby is quite nature, couldn't you, because of the pre-programmed aspect, and then Schaffer and Emerson, which is more nurture, because that's very much about the environment and how that affects attachments and how they're formed.
Yeah, it's a really nice sort of progression as well from Bowlby being the first attachment theorist. People were building on what he'd discovered and working out what he was right about and what he was wrong about. He said that babies have 1 primary attachment, usually with the mother, But we now know that, there are lots of situations where maybe the mother isn't around, and that doesn't mean that the baby can't form an attachment. And like Shafra and Emerson are saying, if people respond well to a child, it could be a grandparent, a child can form a strong bond with a grandparent, and they can have multiple attachments. So not just with the mum, they can have attachments with grandparents, or even if they're in childcare, with, key workers in childcare. Okay, let's have a look at our next activity. A round of applause also for everyone doing so well with that one.
Done. Some great answers there, really good.
Okay, so we've said that insecure attachments can sometimes occur, and we've talked about how they can affect you. But what do you think can cause an insecure attachment? So what could happen in an infant or a very young child's life that could disrupt an attachment? So have a think about that. Give us as many possible causes as you can think of. That could be 1, could be 2, could be 3, could be more than that. And let's give you the music and see what you come up with. Thank you, Sky. Okay, we've got some good answers coming through.
Yeah, brilliant. So, or should I just say Nabiha? I can see hers. She's talked about absent parents, experiences of neglect and abuse, or difficulties communicating needs. Very sensible answers there, actually.
Yep,
thinking about those.
Sky has said lack of affection or relationships, parents away or working a lot. Yep, really good. Let's load up my answers and see what we've got. So maternal depression, so postnatal depression can sometimes mean that mothers struggle to meet the needs of their children. Neglect or abuse, which is what Nabiha was talking about. I can see Tahir also saying early interaction with child and caregiver that are negative, so abuse and neglect. Yeah, brilliant. Also periods of hospitalisation during childhood, that could be the child or the parent, couldn't it? If a baby's in neonatal intensive care, for example, it can be difficult to bond with that child. But in modern, hospitals and healthcare settings, nurses and midwives take great pains to ensure that, mums and dads can bond with their babies effectively, even if they are receiving, intensive care. I can see someone else is saying feeling unhappy and neglected. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, let's move on to our next activity, Lim.
Okay, so can we go for 3 possible effects of disruptive attachment? So if the attachment isn't consistent and it's disruptive, what might be the...
Oh, I think we're losing Lynn. She keeps breaking up. So, 3 possible effects of disrupted attachment. Let's go.
The clock.
Okay, what do we have, Lynn? What answers have we got?
Yeah. Well, I think they come up quicker on your screen. I've got Tahir said poor eye contact. So I guess if you haven't got attachment, you might find it difficult to build relationships with other people, and therefore that might mean you find it difficult to look people in the eye, for example. We've got Nabiha talking about attaching to someone too fast or too slow. You might not kind of know what a healthy relationship potentially looks like. Not knowing how to trust people or struggling to maintain relationships. So some of these we've talked about a bit earlier on, haven't we?
Yeah.
About if you have insecure attachment, how that can affect. So everybody's definitely on the right track. Should we see what we put?
Yep.
Let's have a little look. So yes, we're more specific here. So we've got anxiety, because obviously you might develop feelings of anxiety if you've not had those strong attachments. You might have sort of been moved around from people to people and you haven't been able to form those close attachments. You might feel anxious about building relationships with others. Could lead to depressive disorders. So you could experience depression, for example, as a result of that, and delinquency. So we've talked a little bit about those types of behaviours, antisocial behaviours, difficult behaviours that people might develop because of a disruptive attachment. And we've got Alicia's joined us, Liz, and talked a little bit about increase of having mental health disorders. So absolutely, anxiety and depression would fall under mental health disorders. So yes, well done. Very good, everyone.
Okay, let's move on to our next activity. So this one is the big reveal. So I'm going to give you 5 clues and you need to try and work out what I'm hinting at before I get to the end, okay? So let me show you. So our first clue is having pride in yourself. So we're moving away from attachment, we're still on emotional development, and I'm thinking of a key term which is about having pride in yourself. So if you think you know, just type in the chat and we'll keep going through the clues. So clue 2, based on your own opinions about yourself. So I can see Alicia is saying self-esteem. Sounds quite good to me. LMA, hi LMA, saying self-esteem as well. Okay, let's have another clue, Lynn. Sky is saying self-concept. Nabiha is saying self-esteem. So number 3, how we value ourselves.
Yeah, really good.
Number 4, also sometimes called self-confidence. So you can change your mind or you can stick with what you've got. And our final clue, can be damaged by how others treat us. I can see that Sky has now changed from self-concept to self-esteem.
Brilliant.
Yep, you are right, everyone. Well done.
Yay.
Obviously, self-esteem is part of your self-concept. So, Sky, you were definitely on the right track there. Okay, let's have a look at another one of these. Okay.
Let me have a look.
Clue 1.
It's a life stage. Okay, that's helpful because we know that there's only a certain number of those. So brilliant. A life stage.
Number 2.
Let's reveal. Identity is important in this life stage. Okay, that's interesting. So pop in the chat when you start to think. Yeah, so identity is important.
Oh, Alicia and LMA and Sky have all come through together saying adolescence, and Nabiha. Okay. Let's have a look at 3.
We may start to form intimate relationships. So Nabiha's adolescence as well. Let's see if they're right then. So we've got our attachments are used as a template to build relationships. So our experience with others we're bringing into our new relationships. And our 5th one is, in this life stage, perceptions of our physical appearance can strongly influence our self-image. I think everybody is unanimous there, Liz, with adolescence. Yeah. Some quite good features there of adolescence, haven't we? Yeah. Got the types of relationships we're building and more reference again to that idea of self-concept, which is made up of your self-image and your self-esteem. So well done.
Okay, let's move on to the red herring. So now we're going to present to you 4 statements or 4 key terms, and we want to know which is the odd one out and why. Sometimes these are quite tricky because sometimes, you know, your brain just can't see it.
Yeah.
So here we've got A, attachment patterns may differ across cultures and contexts. B, predictive of subsequent social relationships. C, maternal deprivation doesn't always result in long-term problems. And D, overemphasises the mother-child bond.
Okay.
So I think it might help if we just talk about a couple of those words on there. So predictive means predicting, and then subsequent means relationships that happen afterwards. So predictive of other relationships after something. Maternal
Yeah.
deprivation is not having a mother around. So Bowlby talked a lot about maternal deprivation being either leading to insecure attachments or disrupted attachments. So we've got Alicia saying A. We've got Maz saying D. Hi, Maz. Alicia and Sky are also saying A.
Okay.
Nabiha is saying D. Criticism
Yes.
of Bowlby.
Okay, that's where my brain was going, actually. Some of them are, well, quite 3 of them are quite sort of like a negative thing, aren't they? They're saying
Shall
you're
we
not
have a look?
Let's have a little look.
I think this is quite challenging. Okay, so B, predictive of subsequent social relationships. That's what Bowlby said about attachment. The others are actually criticisms of Bowlby. So Nabiha, you were right in D, and those of you that said A were right. Maz said D as well. But actually A, C and D are all criticisms of Bowlby. So Bowlby looked at white Western families and relationships where traditionally at the time that he was looking at attachment, mothers raised children and babies and didn't go to work. Maternal deprivation. So having an absent mother doesn't necessarily mean that you're damaged for the rest of your life. And also we know from Shaffer and Emerson that it's not just about mother and child bonding. It can be mother and the father, child and the father, grandparents and the child, and so on. So hopefully that explains that for you guys. Okay, I think we've got another red herring, Lynn.
Yeah, brilliant. So what about this one then? So A, receiving continuous criticism. B, being successful in skills and hobbies. C, reinforced by positive feedback. And D, all basic physiological and safety needs are met. So which of those feels like the odd one out?
Okay, we've got someone else now.
Yeah.
Awesome Gamer is saying D.
Okay. So some of them are feeling, again, sort of more positive, and some of them are feeling a little bit more negative, aren't they, in terms of the terms?
Nabiha's saying A. Yeah.
Do you want to tell us why, Nabiha? Do you know? Or you
Maz is
just have
also saying A as well. Shall I reveal, Lynn?
A as well, Liz. That's what's coming to me.
Okay,
We'll
let's have
see
a
if
look.
we're right. Yeah,
Yep.
brilliant. So the odd one out is receiving continuous criticism, because all the others are actually required for positive self-concept throughout life. So for you to have a positive self-concept, being successful in things that you like and you enjoy can really help your self-concept. If people constantly giving you positive feedback, that's going to build your self-esteem, isn't it? And your self-image that you have about yourself. And obviously, if your physiological and your safety needs are met, you're going to feel nice and secure, which we know that secure attachment can lead to obviously positive self-concept.
Yep.
So well done, Nabiha. She came through and said
Brilliant.
that A was more negative, and we then realised why. So well done.
Yeah. Okay. So another one now. Which is the odd one out here? So A, identity. B, contentment. C, intimacy. D, nutrition. This one's a slightly easier one.
Yeah, definitely.
What do we think? Identity, contentment, intimacy, or nutrition? Okay, Alicia is saying D. Nabiha is saying D.
Yeah, definitely.
That was a nice, easy one, wasn't it?
What we're learning today. Yeah.
So all the others are about emotional development.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
And some really nice health and social care terms there, Liz.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can get those into any question on emotional development, you'll be winning.
Yeah, excellent. Well done.
Okay, so that's the end of our emotional growth and development live stream. I will upload it to the Tutor2You website later on this evening. So if you check back tomorrow, you can actually download the PowerPoint and you can go through this again. You can also watch us on replay and go through it again if there was anything that you didn't fully understand or anything that you missed. Also, you can talk to your teachers about it. If you're doing Unit 3, join Lynn and I in 15 minutes for a Unit 3 live stream. If you're doing Unit 2, you can join me at 6:30 for a live stream. Thank you so much and see you again soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.